Ooh. Concept soup. We're back with another video. And just for change, it's another white PC. I seem to be doing a lot of white themed PCs recently. Who knows why? I think it's just because they sell well. But today's video, nice white PC, keeping it simple, just a build, just going through it, showing it off. So, let's get straight into the parts. Well, not straight into the parts, because we got a word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is me. So I run jcpccustoms.com, which is potentially where you could be picking up your next gaming PC. We have everything from entry-level systems, which are perfect for Fortnite and other esports games, all the way up to super high-end systems, including those containing the RTX 3080 graphics card. If you like the look of some of the machines we've been putting together on the channel, if you like the specifications and the performance, there's a very good chance it is available at jcpccustoms.com. But if there's something you wanted that's a little bit more custom, you can always get in touch for a custom quotation where we'll be happy to help. Thank you very much for watching this ad spot. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so that's out of the way. Let's look at the parts that we've got today. CPU, Ryzen 5. 5600X. What an absolute classic CPU. Super fast single core speed. Super fast 6 cores. And what have we got to cool it today? It's the ID Cooling Snow Edition. The Frost Flow. The reason I bought this one, it's because, well, it was cheap and it was white. Anyway, next on the list is the motherboard. This is the B550 Phantom Gaming 4 AC. AC means it's got the Wi-Fi built in. This is plenty for the 5600X, plenty even for the 5800X. So don't go in the comments telling me it's a rubbish motherboard, because it's just fine, baby. It's just fine. Storage is next on the list, and today's storage is the WD Blue SN550 1TB. Is that a surprise to viewers of the channel? No, it's not. It's the SSD I always seem to use. We've got the Seasonic S12-3 650 watt 80 plus bronze power supply, cause it's cheap and it's really reliable, and it's got 650 freaking watts. Oh look, we forgot the RAM. The RAM we've got today is the Crucial Ballistics RGB, 16 gigabytes of 3600 speed CL16. Very nice. We've also got a load of ST120 RGB fans by Lian, which I just had lying around. See, here's the box to prove it. Anyway, that's gotta be everything. Except the one part we all want to see, and that's the graphics card. Here it is. The graphics card is the Zotac Twin Edge White Edition. Looks pretty freaking sweet. Not got a very big cooler on it, but it don't need it. And of course, making everything tidy in a white build, we got the Shack Mods white extension cables. Oh yeah. That's enough about the parts. Let's chuck them in a PC. That's a fresh looking PC, if I say so myself. So funny, so funny. Lovely, lovely white themed build. Those Lian Li ST120 fans are actually brilliant. I'm definitely going to be using them again because it's like 35 quid for a 3-pack, which is pretty nice. And they just look great. They've got the white housing on them as well, so they fit really nicely in a white build. Very nice, bright RGB LEDs. I think they're awesome, and I'm certainly going to be using them again. Case, of course, 4000D Airflow white, always a classic. Probably all round, probably my favourite case at the moment. It's just functionally brilliant because of the perforations on the front and the mesh filtration. It fits everything you want to fit. It's got a really nice, clean aesthetic with the white and grey. I think it's just the complete package at the moment. I know it's a bit of like, oh, everyone seems to use a 4000D Airflow, but there's a reason for that. It's really, really a nice case. If I didn't have my Lian Li 011 Dynamic and I wanted a mid-tower, this would probably be what I'm going for, because it's classy, but yeah, it's got the performance and the space for what you need. Really, really nice case. Otherwise, putting the PC together, it's easy. I've put together loads of PCs. It's not much of a challenge, but building in this case is really, really straightforward, especially as they've got a lot of the cable management stuff sorted for you already. I like all the parts. They're an excellent combination. So 5600X and 3070 is just really, really good performance. I think the best price to performance is actually 5600X with a 3060 Ti. I think that is the ultimate sort of sweet spot for price to performance. But obviously 3070 just get a little bit of extra performance on the graphics side, so by no means an inferior product. Just I think the 3060 Ti is just a bit better value for money. But obviously they perform really, really well together, and particularly most of the popular games that people are playing, because they're not particularly graphics intensive, they become sort of CPU bound a lot of the time, especially if you're playing at low settings to get the maximum frames. So that's why having that 5600X with the really fast single core speed, that's really going to be helping you out, getting those maximum frames without having to spend too much money on the higher SKUs, because realistically a 5800X isn't going to be particularly that much faster than a 5600X in gaming, unless you're doing a lot of other things on the side. But even if you're doing a little bit of streaming on the side, a 5600X would probably see you right, as long as you use the NVENC encoder for your streams. Great performance. I really liked all the parts that were used here. That 240mm AIO, the frost flow, worked really, really well. The thing is with water coolers, even the cheaper ones, a lot of the time they're all made by the same manufacturers, so this might be an Zotac or something, in which case it's not going to be particularly much difference to any of the other brands. Usually it's the fans that make them different, but because we put the Lian Li ST120s on there, we know we've already got some really good quality fans which are known to work very well on radiators. So I think that was a bit of a success story, that because it's much nicer to spend 70 quid on something rather than 120 quid on something and have basically the same looks. And the other thing is, if we went for a Corsair white liquid cooler in this, not only would it have been significantly more expensive, it also would have meant that we'd have two different RGB ecosystems on the PC, which is never ideal. So I'm very happy with how that worked out. If I was to change one thing, I wouldn't actually change the motherboard, but I wish ASRock would just move that PCIe 16X slot just one notch down, and that helps separate the pieces of the build, makes everything look a little bit more spaced out, and of course you're less likely to run into problems with accessing the display ports on the rear of the PC and the graphics card. Sometimes when you have it in that top slot, on certain cases, not on this one but on certain cases, you have to be very careful with how you screw the graphics card in, just because otherwise sometimes you can block your actual display ports, which isn't ideal. So by having that one lower down, you would have avoided that. But it doesn't really matter. It's fine. As long as you can get to the display ports, it doesn't matter. And this motherboard is perfectly suited to this CPU. I mean, I wouldn't want to put a 5900X or a 5950X in this motherboard, but that's not what we're putting in there today. And thinking about upgrade potential when you're at this point in the socket life cycle is not really wise. So there's no point spending 200 quid on a motherboard for this PC to think about upgrades, because you shouldn't really be upgrading within the same CPU generation. So going from a 5600X up to a 5900X is probably not a very good idea. But if you wait a generation or two and then go up to the Ryzen 9 parts, then that makes sense. But then you would have wasted your money by spending a lot of money on an extra motherboard today. So that's my philosophy on that. And the performance, you know, it's plain to see excellent for mainstream games, high-end games, whatever you want. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I love to see your comments, and if you've got any criticisms or things you'd like to see differently, or you want to talk about your own experiences with a similar kind of build, yeah, just chuck it in the comments and let's get a discussion going. Thank you very much. I've been Concept Soup. Catch you later. Baby boo.